Okay, awesome. So welcome everybody today to the Creating an Organized and Purposeful Life Masterclass. I am your host, Jennifer Ford-Berry, and I am passionate about teaching women how to clear the clutter from their homes and their lives so they can find more space, time, energy, and money to live out their God-given purpose. Can everybody hear? Somebody just said they couldn't hear. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, good. All right. So I'm happy to have all of you here with me today. And I want you to just real quick, raise your hand if you are feeling overwhelmed by everything you have to get done in a day. Raise your hand if you are exhausted from trying to take care of all the stuff that you have accumulated in your life. Raise your hand if you actually lack fulfillment or contentment. If you know that there is more out of life, but you have no idea how to get it, raise your hand. Yes. And if this is you, I want you to know, first and foremost, you are not alone. I have worked with hundreds of women over the past 2 decades that feel the same exact way as you. And I just want you to know there is a different way to go about life. If you feel like you're stuck, today is the day for you. I've been reading emails all week, and I love all of your responses to the questions that I've been asking through the email sequence. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. And some of the things that I've noticed that you are struggling with are as follows. I've heard messages such as, I'm hoping to find more time. I'm a mom that works full time and I never have time to relax. I want to declutter, but it's so overwhelming because I don't know where to start. How do I get the motivation to start again and stay motivated? That's a big one. My biggest struggle is tackling my basement, getting rid of all the things I've purchased over the years. I want to learn how to manage my belongings so that they don't distract me from my purpose. I want to clear my home from clutter and learn time management. So if you felt like that, maybe you can relate. And just like you, I know exactly how it feels to wake up every single day, just overwhelmed, frustrated with life, and quite frankly, sometimes bored and asking myself, is this all there is to life? I had huge dreams when I went to college. I basically wanted to work in corporate America and make a lot of money, get married, have a family. That was about it. And I was doing that. I did the college degree, I did the corporate America, and I found myself as a young mom waking up every day, just kind of wondering if I was going to stay on this never-ending hamster wheel. Something was missing. I didn't know what it was, and I didn't actually know how to find it, but I knew that there was more to life, and I wanted to figure out what that is. A few months later, I felt like God intervened. 9/11 happened. And I was laid off from my corporate job in radio. And it gave me a few months of time. I was on unemployment, not self-employed yet, but on unemployment. And I thought, okay, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And so I started on a spiritual journey, asking myself questions like, what am I passionate about? What do I want my daily life to look like? How do I want to feel? What do I want to give back to the world? And it led me, as you all know, to this journey of organization. I did a lot of reading, a lot of journaling, a lot of praying. So I basically just went inward first. And then I looked at the exterior of my life. I started eliminating clutter, organizing our home in a way that just gave me peace and joy and was super easy to maintain. I started to focus on living a healthy lifestyle. I got really, really good at time management. And I learned how to basically live with intention instead of feeling like life was just that hamster wheel. I started to be in charge of how I spent my days. And I stopped being a victim. I started being proactive. And these changes led me to where I am today. I had no idea that taking a leap of faith, starting an organizing business, especially 20 years ago when I didn't know a single professional organizer, except for Peter Walsh, who was on Oprah, and Julie Morgenstern. And I just thought, who am I to start a business like this? But I decided, I had nothing to lose. Something had to change. And I took a leap of faith, basically. And now it's been 2 decades, 5 books, hundreds of clients, a podcast, and eventually I've gone into ministry and coaching. The more I decluttered my own life and stepped into my purpose, the more God just guided me. It was truly amazing. So I'm basically assuming that if you signed up for this masterclass, you are interested in getting your own home and life organized. And maybe like me, you want more out of life and would love to start living out your own purpose, whatever that may be. Usually purpose is somewhere buried deep inside that we kind of pile our own clutter on top of, and we forget what it was we really set out to do in the first place. But I do believe that everybody is born with a specific purpose in mind. Some organizers out there, they're interested in rainbowizing everything and making homes Pinterest perfect, which, trust me, I can help you do that. But I want you to enjoy this journey, and I do not want you to feel less than. I think nowadays women everywhere are struggling to achieve those images that we're seeing on Pinterest and Instagram and the home edit. And I believe that it isn't about that. It isn't about trying to strive for perfection. The process of letting go that which does not serve us is a very empowering and liberating experience. Getting organized basically focuses us to face each of the items we have brought into our homes. It makes us realize how much stuff we actually have and how much stuff we do not need or use. Somewhere in that process of getting organized, we begin to find that what's truly important is freedom, more contentment, more time for the things and the people that we love, and basically more time to just breathe. We feel like we're always running, we're always doing, but when was the last time you were able to just take a few breaths and breathe? And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love organizing closets and cabinets and all the things. But what I really love about this process of organization is getting women's physical clutter in order so that they can free up that space, time, energy, and money for the things that they were born to do. And that's the exciting process. Every time we clear clutter, we make room for new. And that's the part of my job that I absolutely get fired up about. So the difference between intention and purpose is intention helps us define what is important, and purpose gives us a reason to stick with that process. But when we have both of these, it's easy to remove everything that does not belong. I have created a really organized and purposeful home and life, but to do that, I had to change my mindset. I had to believe in more, and I had to stop making excuses. I had to get really humble, and I had to get coachable, honestly, guys. In the past, I had read a lot of self-development books, podcasts. I'm constantly into growth, but I really had to start applying the things I was learning instead of constantly just reading and not doing anything to change. So today I'm going to be sharing 6 key principles that can literally change your mindset, and therefore your life, can help you to start decluttering your own home, your own days and time, and to start giving yourself that space to figure out who you are and what you want out of life. So ask a lot of questions, be honest and raw. I am here to serve all of you today. I'm so happy you're here. I know it's a busy time of year, and the fact that you took out an hour of your day to spend with me really means the world to me. I so appreciate that. If you have a question, don't hesitate, because I know there is at least one other woman feeling the same way that you do. So be brave to ask what you need to know. I know I was having to learn these things first before I could teach others. So there's no shame in asking lots of questions. So does everybody have a journal and maybe a drink, something to keep you in tune and be ready to learn and to take lots of notes? So let's get started. First of all, remember I said we need space to breathe. This is where we're going to breathe. So close your eyes, take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Be present in the moment, and I want you to imagine something really amazing. 6 months from now, you wake up to start your day. It's morning, you're laying in bed, You open your eyes. Maybe you say a quick prayer to God, thanking him for all he's done for you, asking him to guide your day. You walk into your kitchen to make your favorite drink, maybe coffee, maybe tea, maybe a smoothie. How does your space look? How does your home look? More importantly, how does your home feel? Do you look around and moan, or do you feel content and actually proud of what you have done with the home you've been blessed with? Is it easy to find what you need when you need it? Have you stopped wasting money on buying duplicates? How do you spend your time today? Maybe you're working on a career you enjoy. You've left a job that you felt stuck in, and now you feel like you're full of purpose. Maybe you spend it making memories with those that you love. Maybe it's important to you now to take care of your body. Maybe you're running the business you've always dreamed about, or donating your time to a cause close to your heart. When you come home at the end of that day, are you happy to come home? Who are you spending your time with? How do you feel at the end of this day? And now I want you to open your eyes and hear me, ladies. If you can envision that in your mind, it's already yours. It's there for you to grab. You just have to make the choice. Starting today, I want us all to make a promise to each other that we're going to start staying in this energy of possibilities, and this energy of making choices that are best for us, and spend less time feeling overwhelmed, complaining your life away, and just less time regretting. So today I want to start with the 6P principles, and I hope that's going to help you get to that point in life where you realize your life literally can be anything you want it to be, even if it doesn't feel like that today. Even if you're just like many of us women out there, so much responsibility has been piled on our plate. We not only work, we also have these homes to take care of. We have kids to raise. We have family and friends that need us. We have so many things that we want to accomplish, and so many things we're responsible for. So you want to make sure that is somebody's, oh, we got it. Make sure everybody's muted, please. Okay, so the first P principle, possibilities. Matthew 19:26 says, humanly speaking, it is impossible, but with God, everything is possible. Do you actually believe that statement? Really ask yourself, do you believe anything is possible? Because that statement, that verse is not just for me or a celebrity or a public figure that you've heard of. This is for you. This is for each and every one of us. I bet when you were a little girl, you believe that maybe more than you did today. Maybe when you were a little girl, you spent time daydreaming, imagining what your life would be like. I know for me, I absolutely loved climbing trees when I was a little girl. And I would climb these trees and sit on these branches and literally just picture all the things that were going to happen in my life. I was going, have a handsome husband, 2 kids. I was going to travel the world. I think I was going to live in maybe the Barbie mansion, things like that, like really thinking about what I wanted to do with my life. And as I got older, I found myself spending less and less time imagining possibilities and daydreaming. It became something that I had to make I had to work towards it. I had to be intentional about it to make sure that my dreams weren't stuffed down on top of taking care of all the things I was responsible for. Maybe you can relate. As grown women, I think it's really, really important to still give ourselves space. Maybe you're journaling, maybe you go for a walk, maybe you take a hike, or you sit by the beach, whatever it is, but you actually give yourself time and space to just go in your mind and into your imagination. So I want you to ask yourself questions like, what is possible for me? How do I want to spend my time next year? How do I want to feel when I walk into my home at the end of a busy day? How do I want my family and my guests to feel in my home? It's a huge question. How do you want to make an impact on the world? And this is one of my favorite questions. What do you want people to say about you when you're gone? Because let me tell you, ladies, nobody's going to talk about how many shoes you own or what kind of car you drive. They're going to talk about the time you spent with them, the way you impacted their life, the memories that you made together. Those are the things that matter. And I want you to write down those answers as clearly as you can, because this will start to create a vision for your life. And it might not all fall into place next week, right? This stuff takes time, and that's okay. But when you write it down, you start to give yourself a roadmap for success. You start to give yourself, just a clear path, and you get to say to yourself, this could happen for me. This is possible. I do this thing every morning where I write down 5 things I'm working on that I want to bring into my life, and I write them as if they're already happening. And I've done that for about a year and a half now. And it has completely changed my life, because my brain doesn't know the difference between reality and what I'm writing. It just hears it every day that this is happening. These things are being brought into my life, and it really starts to change my perspective. Not that I want these things, but they are happening. They're on the way. And then I go through every few months and I highlight the things that have come to pass. And it makes me motivated to keep on going. I encourage you to try that. So number 2, the second P is plan out your time. The cool thing about time is it's the one thing that we were all given equally. No matter our race, our geographic location, how much money we have, how we were educated, we were literally blessed with 24 hours, every single person on the planet. But it's how we use that time that matters and makes a difference between how successful we are, how happy we are, how we live our life on a daily basis. Everything comes from this beautiful resource. So here comes some action steps to help you start to make the most of your time. Number 1, make and organize your to-do list. So I want you to starting today, just change your perspective about your to-do list. We have to stop being bitter and resentful about our to-do list as women. We have to start being grateful for it, because as long as we're breathing on this earth, we are going to have a to-do list. It's all those to-dos that make up our life. And so I want you to look at your to-do list as a brain dump of all those things not only you have to do, but you want to do. And I want you to start just realizing it's not a race. It doesn't have to be done at a specific time. Most things are not time sensitive. So you want to start focusing on the top time sensitive, which is basically your top priorities for that week, and realize that you will get to the rest, but it's the journey, and you have to go at a steady pace to keep up with this journey. It's not a dash. Number 2 is plan out your days as far as you can. So the more intentional you are with your time, the more you can get done. And there's so many efficient ways to plan out your time. I could go on and on about that today. There's paper versus digital planners. You can color code, automation, alarms on your phone. I use a combination of all of this. But the important thing is that you find a system that works for you, and that you learn it and you basically, embed it into your daily routine. The third thing is to create routines. Routines are formed by habits. So if you don't like your routines, you need to change your habits. Routines teach us how to be self-disciplined with our time, and eventually you can do these things on autopilot if you implement a routine that is beneficial to your life. Number 4 is get accountability. An exact time management system takes serious diligence and self-discipline. So if you want to get serious about making the most of your time, you are going to need some accountability. Time in general is something that I've just learned to control. And there's a lot of things that are asking for our time, But when you plan out your time in advance, it helps you to be able to set boundaries. So if you've planned out your week and you're incorporating some things in there that you personally want to spend your time doing, when someone asks you if you can, go to lunch on this day or volunteer on this day, you look at your calendar and you say, sorry, I'm not available. That's the end of it. You don't have to have a long, elaborate speech or excuses. You don't have to feel guilty. You just have to be willing to plan out your time and then set boundaries around it if you want to meet the goals. And does that mean we can never be flexible? Absolutely not. But it means we can protect our time and we can make sure that by the end of the week, we've actually done things that we were intentional about, instead of looking back at our week and saying, where did all my time go? I have no idea. Number 3, the third P, and maybe a big reason why you're all here, part with clutter. So when you think of clutter, you probably think of papers everywhere, maybe on your kitchen counter, on your desk, clothes packed in your closet, knickknacks everywhere. I like to call them tchotchkes. That's one of my favorite words. But clutter comes in all shapes and sizes. And it mainly, for the most part, falls into 3 categories: space clutter, mental clutter, and emotional clutter. So here we go. Space clutter, we know what that looks like, right? But mental clutter are things like negative self-talk. My dreams will never come true. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not rich enough. Who am I to have a big calling on my life? I'll never learn this whole organization thing. I wish I was better at keeping a house. Things like that. Or it could be worry and fear. Or it could be perfectionism. Actually, this is a huge thief of time, perfectionism. If you are waiting for the perfect time to do something, you'll be waiting your entire life. The time is now to make a change. Time is now to end a relationship, start a business, follow your heart. Because if not now, then honestly, when? And the third type of clutter is emotional clutter. It also can be tied in with relationship clutter. They usually go hand in hand. That your own emotions, how it affects the relationship with yourself, and how it affects your relationships with others. So what is a relationship clutter example? It can be a relationship that continually makes you feel bad about yourself, playing small around certain people so that they don't feel insecure, spending time with people that do not celebrate your accomplishments, or triggers. Triggers are huge. Triggers are usually birthed from thoughts that we've carried around for a long time. And they sprout up and they affect our relationship when you least expect it. And it usually has nothing to do with the person in front of you. It has to do with your past and other things you've experienced. So basically, those are the 3 main types of clutter. But in a nutshell, I want you to remember this. Clutter, and you can write this down, clutter is anything getting in your way of living your best, most fulfilling life. And it always comes with a cost. Some of the costs of clutter include clutter causing you to feel overwhelmed and depressed. It robs you of your energy. Clutter steals 50% of our storage space, believe it or not. Clutter makes life harder. You have to look harder. You have to dig deeper. You have to spend more because of clutter. It takes way longer to clean when your house is filled with clutter. It makes it hard to think straight. And it affects how you feel about yourself. So you may be self-conscious or you may feel guilty about your clutter. So here's a perfect example. Imagine all of the pieces of clutter. You know those cardboard bricks we used to play with when we were kids? You'd fold them up and it was like a little brick and you could build a fort. They were usually like green or yellow or red or something like that. I loved building forts with them. But I was doing a conference a couple of years ago, and I used those blocks as an example of clutter. So imagine each block is super heavy. So you're carrying around all these different, each block is a piece of clutter, and they're all super heavy. And you have a backpack, and you fill your backpack with these blocks of clutter. And each one you put in your backpack just weighs you down more and more and more, makes you feel more tired because now you have to carry so much. It makes you feel more guilty. It makes you feel less motivated. It makes you feel overwhelmed. And you know this, and you can feel the change, but you continue to take more and more clutter and put it into your backpack, AKA your life, right? That backpack represents your life. And then we wonder why down the road, we're stressed, we're overwhelmed. We have lost our inspiration. And you know what? All we have to do is decide today's the day I'm putting the backpack down and I'm done carrying it. I'm getting rid of the clutter. I'm tired of it weighing me down. I'm tired of carrying it every single day. And if you decided that today and you want to begin clearing away clutter, I want you to know that decluttering is the process of deciding what is most important to you and then basically clearing away everything that is less important. It can help you get down to what matters most, both physically and spiritually. But decluttering can be challenging. It can be emotionally and time consuming. And the thing is, it does take time. Decluttering is something that I say this to women all the time. You come to a masterclass, you come to a conference, you listen to a podcast, and you're fired up and you're like, yes, I'm sick of clutter. Get this crap out of my life. But then you go full speed ahead, and you really have to understand that this is a process that takes a little bit of time if you're going to do it right. Because if you don't do it right, you're going to do what I call as the squirrel mentality, where you start in the kitchen and you're pumped up and you are decluttering a cupboard, and then something that you find belongs in the master bedroom. So now you're in the master bedroom going through your sock drawer, and then you're in your kid's bedroom. That isn't the way to go about it. So understand that it's a process and just be okay with that. Break it down from this huge project into little baby bite-sized pieces, because the rewards are so worth it. Okay, 4P, the fourth P, possession management, AKA organization. Marketing companies are getting paid big bucks to get us to believe that more possessions or better possessions make us happier, healthy, and more successful. And that is a lie that we're being told. They're trying to make money off of us, right? So they're getting us to fill our homes with as much stuff as we can possibly get. We spend the majority of our lives working so we can earn money. And then we use that money to pay for a bigger house, which we continuously fill with more stuff that is supposed to improve our lives in some way, but it always leaves us feeling empty. And let me tell you, ladies, I've been in a lot of homes over 20 years, and I have pulled up to big, beautiful homes only to be welcomed at the front door by an overwhelmed, stressed out, sad woman. And this woman has everything, but it's not making her happy. She's overwhelmed by the lack of space, time, energy, and money. Recently, I did show up to a new client's house, and I was driving through this gorgeous neighborhood, and I could tell all the homes were new. So I pull in the driveway. It's a new build, maybe in the last couple of years. And I meet the woman on the porch. And you know what the first thing she said to me when I said, "Oh, wow, your home is gorgeous. It's just, stunning." She said, "Oh yeah, I miss my old house." And I said, "Well, why?" This is somebody that's coming into a new house. And what do I see? I see the exterior, right? I don't see the story. I don't see the history. I just see the thing. Okay. And to us, we think the thing represents something behind those walls. And we think if somebody were to live in that house, or if I someday had a house like that, I would be so happy, right? But this person is telling me I miss my old house. So I asked her why. And she basically proceeded to explain that the old house was where her kids were raised. She was talking about memories in the old house. She was just talking about like the good times, the time, right? And not the things that were in the house, because let's face it, a lot of those things are in the new house. So it's not the things, it was the time that she spent in the old house. She didn't really put that together. She just thought it was that house and there was something wrong with this new house. And there wasn't. The fact of the matter is, in the new house, she didn't bring those memories with her. They were not attached to that house. Her kids were getting older and moving out, and she was lonely. And it was packed full of stuff, and she had lost control of it. When she walked into it, she didn't see the beautiful rooms, the nice hardwood floors, the furniture. She didn't see that. She saw the clutter. She saw all the work that it required. She saw just her time slipping away because she couldn't get caught up. And I wish I had $100 bill for every single time I've heard a similar story, you guys. I've heard it so often. And it's the one thing that keeps driving me in my business, because let's face it, we're all leaving this world empty-handed. We're not taking our cars, we're not taking our homes, we're not taking our clothes. No matter how much money we put into it, no matter how much time, that's not what life's about. And even though those big marketing companies are getting paid a lot of money to tell us the lie, we know better. We do. And so with her, we began this process of organization, going room by room, finishing each room, beginning to end, deciding what she loved and used. I coached her on time management. We tackled the mental and relationship clutter. Her marriage was going through a rough patch. A lot of times your physical environment is a representation of what's going on inside of you. And she was lacking direction and purpose. She didn't know what she was going to do with the next chapter of her life. And all of that was just robbing her of her energy. And she needed somebody to guide her and point her in the right direction, somebody that knew the process. And so I want to tell you the basic process of physical organization that I use. And this is like the Cliff Notes version, because I don't have time to go into everything, but it's not super complicated. Number one, ask yourself, do I love this? Do I use this? Because there's things in your home that you love and you don't really use, but they just make you happy. They remind you of a great time in your life. They bring a smile to your face. And then there's the things that you don't really love. Maybe it's an appliance or something like that, but you use it all the time. So do I love this or do I use this? Number two, every single thing you own needs to have a home in order to have an organized house. Everything you own has a home. Number three, like things together. And this, you might think, well, my dishes are all together, right? My clothes are all together, but there's so many categories that I see spread out. One example I always think about is gift wrap. So like things together. So when you need to go find it, you're not looking in 5 places, 5 homes, you're only looking in 1. And can you find everything you own quickly and efficiently? Because the truth is, every single time we want to find something in our home, we need to find it quickly. And that's why people, they give up and they run to the store and spend more money buying a duplicate. So getting organized and following this process definitely saves you money. Don't live in the maybe or the someday. Just don't do it. Well, Jennifer, I haven't worn this in 15 years, but maybe my kids are going to need it for a Halloween costume someday. Right? And maybe someday I will lose 50 pounds and I'll go down 3 sizes so I will fit in these jeans. I've kept them for 20 years. I haven't worn them, but when I lose the weight, I'm going to wear these jeans, right? Maybe yes, maybe not. Or the final thing is, do not keep things out of guilt. My mother-in-law gave me this. She's going to be mad if I get rid of it. I inherited this from my family member, but I absolutely hate it and don't want to look at it. Things like that. Do not keep things out of guilt. I give you permission. So I want to give all of you a little bit of tough love for a second. That is always hard to say, but I feel like it's important to hear that the things in your home are your responsibility to take care of. So do not pass it on to your children if they don't want these things or love these things, because I feel like our homes are our unique place in the world, which is just for us and our, our personalities and our style. And that doesn't mean that it has to be your kid's personality or your kid's style. Just like if you've had an older family member do that to you, it is our responsibility to organize our homes and not leave a cluttered mess for our children. I have cleaned out countless homes from people that have passed on, and it takes a toll on the kids because number one, it's very time consuming. And number two, nobody ever told them why to keep certain things, what was important, the stories behind things. So if you can get your home organized and leave a clean home to your kids, that is the biggest gift you can give them. Okay. The 5th P principle, practice stewardship. So our our possessions are a blessing from God. I mean, they really are. If we look at all the things in our home, and no matter what you have currently, I guarantee you have way more than many other people. And instead of feeling like, it takes so much time and energy to take care of all these things, we do have to change our mindset to feeling thankful and to taking good care of what we have. Because let me ask you, why should we ask for more if we're not practicing good stewardship with what we already have? We need to be grateful for what we have now and take good care of it. And we've all done things in our lives where maybe we weren't the best steward of something. And so if you're, praying for a bigger house, ask yourself, am I taking care of the house I have now? If you're praying for a new car, ask yourself, how am I taking care of the car I have now? Because you will take care of it the same way if you don't become intentional. And one of the things I have in my home, in my laundry room, is a sign that says another day in paradise. And I put it in my laundry room on purpose because instead of going into my laundry room and having this attitude of like, another day of laundry, I look at that sign and I think, thank you for giving me this family that I prayed for. Thank you for giving me this washer and dryer. Thank you for giving me these clothes. Thank you that I have kids that need my help with laundry. Now, I'm all about everybody doing their own laundry in my house, but when I'm doing other people's laundries, which I do, I think of that sign instead of doing it begrudgingly. And I've had that sign for 12 years now, and it's made a huge difference on my mindset. So being a good steward, in my opinion, is also using up what we have. There's so many things that I see wasted in homes that are never used, and good hard money was spent on these things. Things like beauty products, food, clothes, books, stuff like that, where the person that bought it had great intention, but then it just became another thing that they didn't take care of. So if you're feeling like your home is cluttered, I encourage you to start using up what you already have instead of buying more. Just try to go on a little bit of a spending freeze for a month or two and get yourself to use what you have. And when you get organized, that becomes really easy. When you get organized, there's systems for everything, there's homes for everything, and the possession management becomes just a easier routine. And steward your children. So if your home is messy, it's very likely your kids will learn that that's how to maintain a home. And organization skills are not, they're just something that is not taught in school normally, but it is an important skill that is just as crucial as reading, writing, riding a bike, because once that child, if he's having a hard time managing his room, he's going to have a really hard time managing a home. And then when you have been in this business as long as I have, and you meet people that are sad and depressed and overwhelmed in their home, That's not what we want for our children, right? So it's something important that we can teach them, or your grandchildren. It's never too late to be an example in a child's life, right? So the 6P principle is purpose. So each and every one of you watching today has a specific purpose assigned to your life that has nothing to do with what you own. But this purpose is perfectly matched to your gifts, your skills, and your personality. And God already had it in store for you way before you were born. Many people do not know what their purpose is because they haven't given themselves time and permission to figure it out. They're too busy on that hamster wheel of life, right? But getting organized, decluttering all the areas of your life, this will help you find that space, time, energy, money, that STEM that I talked about earlier for your purpose. And your purpose doesn't have to look like anybody else's. It can be unique to you. Like I mentioned, first of all, I didn't know that organizing and teaching this and helping women like this was going to be my purpose. But I also didn't know anybody else that was going to go at it from a direction that I was going to when it started. And that's what's cool about it. We can do our own thing. We don't have to do it the way anybody else is doing it. And the important thing about purpose, it's not about glorifying you, it's about glorifying God. So what forms of clutter are actually holding you back from living out your purpose? Maybe you can put that in the chat. What is holding you back? If you could get organized and declutter your life, what would you do with that newfound STEM? And if you can figure out what your purpose is and start spending more time on that and less on your stuff, I promise you'll become a happier person. So do you want to live out your purpose? That is the question. Do you want to create more space, time, energy, and money in your life? Do you want to love your home again? Do you want to be a good steward? Do you want to open the doors to the people that you love and have them come into a home that feels comfortable and welcoming? Do you want that possibility that we talked about in the future, in the beginning when you closed your eyes? I want to help all of you get there. That's what I want to do with the rest of my days doing this job, is just help as many women get to that place as possible. I can tell you story after story after story of women who started out where I opened that door and they were so stressed out and overwhelmed, sometimes in tears. Life was falling apart and they are on the other side. And all it took was a plan, systems, lots of coaching, and intention. And that's what just fires me up when it comes to this job. So before I go open for live coaching, I just want to share that if any of you are interested in getting coached on this topic yourself, last year, I think it was last spring, I opened up an online program because I wanted to create a community of women that were all helping each other, that were very intentional about creating a life of order and purpose, and had the help they needed at their fingertips whenever they wanted it, no matter where they live. Because honestly, up until this point, I've mostly helped people in the Western New York area or in Florida. And so I wanted to reach a broader audience and be able to share everything I've learned, things I've written in my books, the systems that I've put together in my own home and the lives of my clients, and share it with everybody that wanted to learn it. So it is called the Created Order Neighborhood. And I want to go ahead and open up my share screen so that you can see what all the modules are, because there's tons and tons and tons, and it grows every single week. So let me go ahead and share this. So in here, basically every single week, I offer live coaching, and you can come on. I'll help you with a specific project. We can talk about mental clutter, physical clutter, relationship clutter, emotional clutter. But that is the live version that's every single week. There are also over 75 modules in here that cover everything, all these, rooms of your home, actually do home tours of my own house, which I've never done before, and time management. Oh, there's lots more home or rooms in your home up here. And the thing about it is, I set this program up so you can go at it as slowly or as quickly as you want. I know that there is seasons where you might be really focused on getting organized and creating systems and decluttering, but then, life happens. Right now we're talking about Christmas clutter, having clutter-free season, which is amazing. There's just tons and tons in here. There's experts, there's bonuses. So it is full of information, but I want you to realize that I'm also always available for your own personal walk. And so that is usually a 12-month program, and not because it takes 12 months to get your whole house organized, but because you do need support with other things. There might be a season of, there might be a season of time management issues. There might be a season where you want to focus on your budget. There might be a season where you're cleaning out your basement. So there's room for that, but it's always been a 12-month program. And for this masterclass, I just changed it, and I'm offering a 6-month version. So at the end of this masterclass, I will send all of you a link to the program, and you can figure out if it's for you. If you want to pay monthly, that's a brand new option instead of in full. And I will be available next Monday through Thursday for anybody that wants to jump on a call like this one-on-one and just find out if the program is for you. So it's called the Created Order Neighborhood. I love it. It's so fun. It's just amazing. And it's very affordable, because hiring a professional organizer in your home is definitely more expensive than an online program like this. So obviously I do offer both. So if you want to jump on a call this week and we can talk about, what you're facing, what your struggles are, and I can just find out a little bit more about you, and then we'll decide what is the best course of action for you. And even if we're not a fit, it's still a great time to just ask your questions. So right now I want to open up for some live coaching, and anybody that is willing to come on screen, just type that in the chat. And if you just say on screen, and if you don't, then type your question in the chat and I will answer. Tangible items, books, handbags, shoes, home decor, craft items, etc. So let's go. So hang on. It doesn't have your name, but let's go ahead and get you on screen. Okay. Hi there.
Hi, it's Shauna Hillard.
Shauna.
I'm sorry it doesn't have my name.
Oh, I know. Isn't it funny with technology? You're like,
yeah,
okay,
for how I signed in.
Welcome, Shauna.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Where are you from?
Delaware.
Delaware.
Yes.
So what is your question for me?
Well, you answered quite a few. I'm in the season of my life. I actually responded to the email earlier this week. I have an adult daughter with autism, and that pretty much, it's funny. I always say that though I know the reason why my home, and it's not even just my home, it's also like paper. Like during the season of my life where I was working full time, my children were younger, I was super, super organized. Like my life was structured. And then when that kind of fell through, trying to, when the kids got a little bit older and my daughter has autism, everything just went by the wayside. And I feel like I live in a time capsule. And it's interesting because I always say, although I can identify why it is, I can pinpoint every single detail as to why it doesn't change the outcome. Mm-hmm. And I don't like the outcome because a couple of things you hit on. First of all, it doesn't glorify God. It's not a good steward. And it's like I'm stuck. And it's almost like these things, like what you described with the backpack, it's just holding me back. And I've gone through therapy, not like for the disorganized club, but just for the other life situations. And I've gone through therapy. My therapy, they look forward to talking to me because I encourage them, and which is nice. That's a blessing. But I'm like, I need a coach. I need someone who specializes in this, who, yeah. And unfortunately, yes. And, and my biggest, and I'm not one to have fear, because I do believe God has not given me the spirit of fear, but I guess I will call it my biggest concern. My mother, she passed away about maybe 40 years ago, in her 80s. God blessed her. She loved the Lord. She had a wonderful life. But towards the end, she had onset of dementia, and my mother became a hoarder. Like, I had to go and clean her house out, and I wasn't aware that it was like that, and so that's a concern of mine is, I don't want to go over the edge with that, and though like I put in the chat, my clutter really is, I thought about it. I was like, oh my God, I have collections of things. I have the books. I love books. Handbags, my just things through the years. And then on top of it, my children, I have 4 kids, they're all adults. Their stuff is still here, some of them. They've went to college, came home, moved back out, left some stuff. So it's like, now what you're saying, I have other people memorabilia, and they need to just kind of get their stuff. Christmas decoration that holds memories. Pretty much, I'm holding on to so many memories.
Yes.
I'd rather just take a picture of them and put them in a photo album. But I don't, it's like, I'm at a place now, to be honest with you, Jennifer, I don't even know where to begin. Beginning makes me frazzled.
Which is totally normal. And that's what I hear all the time. And I guarantee there's other women on this call today or that will watch the replay, and they will say, oh my gosh, that's exactly how I feel. They don't know where to start. And that's totally normal. What we need to do is really shrink it down so that you're narrowed in and come up with a system that is going to work with you, for you and your daughter. That's having a child with autism is a big part of your specific solution. Okay. That's why our solutions don't have to look the same for everybody.
Right.
Finding out what you specifically want each room to look like, helping you get that way. Obviously the organization part of this, it for me is, I know all the A, B's and C's, right? I can take anyone's house and make it look Pinterest perfect. It's just what I do. I've done it forever. That part is something that I can teach you, like step by step. But along the way, you need the coaching for your mindset, the encouragement to keep going. And then also, everybody needs this. When life is hard, we need ways to fuel ourselves.
Right.
So we can't just burn ourselves out with physical organization and putting everything in its place and decluttering. We need to balance that with fuel. And that comes a lot of ways. So that we can just realize that the end result is within your power. You can get there. Okay. But it's like, when, I've used business coaches for my life. They knew something I didn't know. They knew a system I needed to know. So I went to them for mentorship because they had already figured it out. And I'm like, just tell me the ways, just tell me what to do. So I will just tell you what to do in a way that'll work, but we will work through the mental clutter as well, because this is a step-by-step process. We have to take into account your emotions, your lifestyle, the fact that you're a caregiver. And it is something that I want you to realize, like, the answers are already there. You just have to be willing to do the process.
Absolutely.
The course. And realize that it's not going to happen by next weekend.
Right.
I mean, I wish I had a magic wand, because
I know.
Everything's organized. But I think as women, we just need to embrace it as a new thing to learn. A new process of shedding our own clutter and growing into the person we want to be. Absolutely. And that's the cool part of how I've watched everybody I work with evolve, is they become more and more their true selves. And then their space is more and more their true selves. So it sounds like you really do need it simplified in your home, because if you're giving a lot of time to your daughter, we can't have a difficult plan in a difficult situation. Things have to be able to be put back easily and efficiently. You can't be digging. And we have to make it, we have to free up the energy and time for you to take care of her. Because that's super, super important. But also you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I be honest with you, for years I put kind of as they say, on the back burner. But you know, I'm getting older. I have to embrace the season I'm in, and I want to be, you know, the best that I can be. And I do want to grab a piece of life for myself to, you know, do what God's will is for me to, you know, to pour back into others. Yeah.
And when we are strapped down by all the stuff and the daily routine that isn't working for us, and the responsibility and management of so many possessions, then it's no wonder at the end of the day, you're not out there doing what's really in your heart, because you have no energy left. You know, so we have to increase the energy. We have to decrease the clutter. You have to be able to fuel yourself. It's a big change in your thinking. Because I know all of the things that you're thinking are 100% right. It's the thinking about how to get rid of the stuff. I feel like you're the person that once you got started, you wouldn't have trouble letting go of things. You just need some hand holding and guidance.
Yeah. And I honestly don't. It's like I don't have a problem letting go. I mean, I have donated, give things away, and now I'm at a place where I think, you know, and because of my journey, of course, you know, coming out of corporate and working, for years I had a successful like online eBay stores. I would sell. I just had have a really good eye. I can flip items extremely well, like vintage high-end items, consign. And now I think my mindset is stopping me, because I'm thinking, you know, I need to liquidate. You know, I want to at least recoup. And sometimes I think, you know, and some of it is true, you're able to, but then some of it, I believe in my mind that it's like a stronghold that the enemy has over me, that, oh, you can't let it go until you liquidate. And then if that doesn't happen, I'm going to be stuck with this stuff. So I think it's like, if that makes sense, if that makes sense.
Yes. I'm a firm believer in, and just so everybody knows, I'm not an organizer that's a minimalist, and I don't believe that you have to go and donate everything. I think it's a balance. I am all about donating to causes that are close to your heart, but I'm also all about getting out of debt or paying for a vacation that you've always dreamed of going. And I believe that with the amount of stuff that's in all of our storage spaces, and our attics and our closets and our basements, there's enough to, number one, make sure everybody in the world had enough, or at least our country, to have what they need in every organization, and, you know, domestic women's shelter or homeless shelter. Also, there's a lot of money sitting in our storage spaces.
That's true.
But we don't know, a lot of people don't know how to recoup that.
Yeah.
And that's part of the process. So it is a process. It's fun. It's empowering. It's liberating. It's step by step. So it's basically, it takes you out of having to figure it out yourself.
Absolutely.
But gives you that person that cares, and a community of women that care, that, because I think we need that. We need encouragement every day.
Absolutely.
You're not a mom of a child with autism, which I've had a lot of clients that are, but even if a mom that, you know, has a child that doesn't have special needs, she still has her hard days and needs encouragement. And moms, I believe deep down, we're all really the same. We all want the same things. So I would definitely encourage you to pray about it, and just know, Shauna, that there is an answer and a solution. You're not alone. There is, you know, a process that would help you, a coach that would help you. If it's the time for you to work with me, then I would love to work with you. And
absolutely,
you know, it's definitely, I just want you to know it's available.
Yeah. And I definitely will love to move forward. I mean, and you know, and as I speak with you more in the future, I mean, it's just, I've purchased your original I have it right from an Organized Now book, you know. I had a binder to go with it. I started going through that process, and then your Make Room book came out, and I've been listening to that. And but that's when I realized I can't do it on my own, even with those tools. So if that makes sense, that it's kind of like morphed into something that's bigger than I need help, pretty much.
Mhm.
Short
Yes.
version of the story, I need help. And your books are phenomenal. They're wonderful. I mean, wonderful tools. And I think once I get to that place, they will always be in my arsenal, just to after that to maintain.
Yeah, the
you know.
maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you can
Mhm.
get away with the checklist in the Organize Now book and
Yeah,
a maintenance program. Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. You're welcome. If anyone else wants to jump on or has questions, make sure you put it in the chat. Oh, yay. Carly, you signed up for the Created Order Calm and Clutter-Free Holiday Season. Yeah, so that is, if you signed up this week, the next live call is Wednesday. But starting tomorrow, everybody that joined this week will get into the program. And, here's the thing. If you don't follow my emails, what Carly is talking about is I am doing a series in the Created Order neighborhood about having a calm, right, and clutter-free Christmas season, because this is a season that I love, and I don't think that it was intended to be where we were just running around spending all our money, although we are going to do gifts, but it's about being present and making memories and traditions and not being crazy maniacs as women. And so you can join the program for just, I can't remember, I think it's $280 for 8 weeks. So if you're interested in that, just shoot me an email, because if you didn't, there's so many people that joined for the masterclass this week. Some might not already be on my email list and won't be getting that information. But Carly, I can't wait to see you in there. And I'm super pumped that you're joining. You're going to love it. Anyone else need coaching or have questions?
Oh, I have a question.
Hi.
Hi,
Carly.
Jennifer. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Hi, I'm Carly.
Hi.
I just took myself out of mute. Hopefully everyone can hear me, but I just want to say it's so nice to speak with you in person. I've listened to your podcast for a long time. So actually when I fold laundry, that's what I do. I listen to your podcast.
Well, okay.
So it's really
Did you ever
nice.
listen to the first episode that was about laundry?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
Oh my God. That was the
I
first
don't know.
episode. I laughed so hard because I did not know what I was doing. But it was like the first time I ever hosted a podcast. And I'm like, let's talk about simplifying laundry. And it's like one of the most favorited ones. It's hilarious.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So what can I do for you?
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Well, yeah, I just want to say thank you, and everything that Shauna said, I think, she hit it right on the nail on the head. Yeah, and I just want to say thank you again, just because I've heard your voice over the years, so it's nice to speak with you, in person, so to speak. But I'm excited. I signed up for the Calm and Clutter-Free holiday season, so hopefully you got that registration. It was through PayPal.
Yeah.
So hopefully you got that. I don't know if we're going to get an email, like as far as.
Yeah, you're going to get all of that tomorrow. And you'll be in for all of the modules plus the live coaching for the next, all the way through the first week of January. And then
excellent.
It's kind of a nice way for you to test out the neighborhood too. You know what I mean?
Oh, very cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. And, I think, and just what Shauna said again, I think, you're just at the point in your life where it's like, yes, I need help with this, you try to do as much as you can every day, but I think creating the routines, like you said, and prioritizing, that's really important. And sometimes I go back to school, when they said to study for a test, do a little bit every day. And that was always my challenge. And I think organizing your house, if you do a little bit every day, I think, that would really help. But really, where do you start? It's like, how do you start? It's like, all right, should I start in the kitchen? I guess I should start in the kitchen because I'm there most of the time.
Well, I would say start in the space that bothers you the most. Like,
okay.
Think about if we walked in, like right now, if you can picture a cluttered spot in your home and you think about it, maybe it's like your kitchen counters, or it's a desk in your, or a table in your foyer where everybody dumps stuff, or the mudroom or whatever. And you think about it, and you're probably thinking of all these negative emotions like, oh, I hate that spot. Oh, it makes me feel tired, makes me feel stressed out, makes me feel overwhelmed. And then if you took 5 minutes and just decluttered that one tiny spot, and then stood back and thought about all of the ways you think differently, it's an energy boost. You now feel proud. You feel like, oh, I did it. I can breathe. You feel like, oh, if I could do that, I could do the next little spot. And so we really need to think about that, because it is how we feel about our entire house. Okay. So the way that I teach this, we're not going to run around in that squirrel mentality. We're going to pick a spot and we're going to stick with it, and we're going to break it down, and we're going to shrink it. And I'm going to say, get real, like when I'm with people in person, they always like to go off to another room to put something away. I'm like, oh, no, we have to stay here and finish, because once that room is finished, that for women, that's the only way we can be like, that's officially checked off my list. Otherwise, it's still hanging there, aggravating us, right? And bothering us.
And yes. And I tend to get distracted, so I could see myself doing that.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That's why
getting up and then like, oh, I'm in this other room. So
yeah. That's why we need accountability. It's the same for any coaching. Is the coach will always say, remember you said that you wanted to accomplish this, so let's stick with this, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So I would start to think before you get in the program, like, where do you want to start with your home? What bothers you? What drains your energy? What costs you a lot of time? What are you embarrassed of? Things like that.
Sure. And, I think a lot of times I think, oh, this is going to take hours and hours. And I am like, I have to get dinner ready, or, I've got to drive the kids here or there. So it's like, then I put it off and, it's still there. So, but breaking it down, like you said.
Yep. And you can do it. And
that's really good.
Anybody that's in the program, I encourage them to come as many times as they can for the live coaching, because for my own coaching program that I'm in, I notice that I get way more out of it if I go live, because it like fires me up. Or I set my timer on the days that I can't meet my coach live, and I watch the replay that day, so that I'm definitely constantly feeding my brain with the goals and the intentions that I want to achieve. And I've done that with a lot of things I want to change in my life. Like right now, I'm really into figuring out a simple, healthy meal plan. And I that was like one thing that I always wanted to get better at. So I listen to people, and I listen to coaches that keep that at the forefront of my mind, so that I stay with it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's huge. Just if you have dinner, if you know what you're doing for dinner that night and you've got it ready, I think that's such a time saver.
It is. Yeah. So you'll get there. You just have to say to yourself, okay, I have a plan, and now I just have to execute the plan. Do not waste any more time stressing about this thing. It can be changed. You're already took a step to do something about it. That's the first step.
Well, thank you so much. And it's great to hear your voice. And
thanks for being on today. So excited to get
God.
better in the neighborhood.
Yes. Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you. I'm just excited to be able to see both of my kids in the same place for Thanksgiving. All right. Amy. Let's see. I have 4 young kids, and it seems like whenever I clean one area and move on to the next, I turn around and what I just cleaned is messed again. How can I maintain what I've cleaned when I have these very active little kids? My chat went away. Hang on. Do you want to come on screen, Amy? Is it a problem of too much stuff or something else? This is one of my biggest sources of cleaning discouragement. So when it comes to little kids, there's a lot. I mean, and I'm going to try to give you as much as I can in a quick quick amount of time. But little kids, first of all, we have to like make sure that we're teaching them. We're not just doing it for them, because if we don't teach them, who's going to? The second thing is making it super simple for them to help put stuff away, because if they don't, then it's like shrink yourself down to a little person looking up at our rooms and our homes, and it's so overwhelming. So we have to make sure that we're getting down like basically on our hands and knees and looking at it from their point of view. And I also am a huge fan of toy rotation, not having everything at their fingertips all the time, but bringing new things in, flip-flopping with the old, so that basically you can just simplify it. If you think there's too much stuff in an area, a little kid thinks there's about 100 times more stuff than you can see. So I would definitely start with that and make it super simple. I was doing a playroom last week, or was the week before, and we just went through and I coached the mom on how to set up the area in a way that would work for her as a mom, but also to give some responsibility to the kids based on their age group. So I hope that answers the question. What else? Feel better, Amy, huh? Yes, feel better, Amy. So I think that if anyone else has any more questions, go ahead, jump on real fast. We have a couple more minutes. And like I said, make sure you check the emails, because after this call, I will send you all the links that you need. Basically, when I first started the program, I wanted to just have it be a 12-month program, because I feel like 12 months, you really see as much transformation as you can. And you need that accountability and hand-holding. But I know sometimes, and I taught a masterclass a couple weeks ago, some people are overwhelmed by the 12-month word. So that's why I decided to offer 6 months, just for people that are feeling like that was too much. Oh, Amy says that's a good point about kids seeing way more clear than we do. They get overwhelmed with stuff too. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a hard question to just answer right now, because it depends on your kids' ages on how I would set it up. So yes. Shauna says, when my kids were adults, they were young, they were doorsteps born. Oh, wow. 91, 93, 94. Wow. You were busy, Shauna. Yes. So I hope everybody enjoyed the masterclass. And if you have questions that you didn't want to put in the chat, feel free to email me. I'll go ahead and type my email in here now, in case you don't have it. Oh, I forgot the .com. And then if you go and just Google created order neighborhood, it will pop up. And I'll send you that email with the specific link. But I hope all of you have the most fabulous Thanksgiving. I really do. I wish you and your family nothing but health and blessings and joy. And if I don't see you in the neighborhood, stay in touch. And, you know, you can always check out the books, the Organize Now series. Make Room is my newest book that just came out this summer. It's actually behind me. That's all the books behind me. And then the podcast every week, the 29-Minute Mom. So thank you. You're so welcome. And God bless you all. Mwah.